Well, hello and welcome to the stream. Let's go ahead and see what we can get into. We're going to do this RPM. Voices, guys, that sort of thing. Who saw McVeigh and John Doe number two several days before top. One witness claims the pair drank beer at her bar in northwest Oklahoma City. She says John Doe number two spoke with an Iranian Iraqi accent. They spoke an Arab language of some sort to each other. Further research by Channel 4 identified John Doe number two through surveillance photos obtained by local businesses near Northwest 10th and Penn, about 2.5 blocks from the AP, where the AP Merlefield building used to be. The report showed some 3 shots of John Doe number two, but scrambled his face as he has not yet been arrested or charged. Research done by KFOR has revealed John Doe number two's name and nationality twice. They didn't release it at the FBI's request. The report did say the man was an Iraqi national who served in the Iraqi military during the Gulf War Desert Storm under Saddam Hussein. The report also said the man is and has been under FBI surveillance and that he has a tattoo on his left arm. Thought you'd like to know. Well, that set off, as you might imagine, a firestorm of interest in the story on this program, certainly. I got another fact saying essentially the same thing. Then we began trying to do what you do, verify the story. Through our program, news director at WKY, our affiliate WKY in Oklahoma City, we confirmed the essential details of the story, that it was essentially as we had heard that it was reported. Then began a long questioning of why in God's name this story was not picked up by the parent network, by other networks and news outlets around the country. And for 2 days, we've been wallowing in that great mystery. Well, not that it's all going to be solved, but hang on, we've got a guest coming. A little more chronology. Earlier in the day, I spoke called personally the manager of KFOR television in Oklahoma City. It was very polite, it was very nice. In order to verify who I was, I faxed him a copy of my affiliate list. The 170 plus radio stations now online. Said I wanted an interview with a reporter very much. He said, sounds interesting. We'll proceed. I gave him my fax number, my phone number. Nothing. No response. Well, at least I don't think there's been a response. I may now have a response. I don't know. We'll get to that. Meantime, my network, Hard at Work, from Oregon, also contacted the television station, spoke to several people at KFOR, and all of them, to the person, said, no, Jana will not, under any circumstances, do an interview. At this point, what is a mother to do? Well, a mother begins imagining all kinds of wild things, like it might be an FBI plant story. It might. It still might. I don't know. Then tonight comes a fax. The following, according to KFOR Channel 4 TV in Oklahoma City, they have identified I'm reading another copy of one of the original faxes I got. This is the one that just came in. It's entitled More on John Doe number two. As a result of Wednesday's broadcast, a new witness has now come forward to KFOR. This witness places John Doe number two 4 blocks from the bomb site, seconds after the blast, speeding away in the brown pickup truck. The witness said she ran from her office after hearing the blast and was almost run down by the brown Chevy pickup. She got a real clear view of the driver, John Doe number two. She describes his look as very angry and full of hate. After she learned of the bombing, she felt this man was involved. This witness says she recognized the man in the KFOR report, even though his identity was hidden by computer graphics. Since Wednesday, she has been with KFOR and has identified the pictures of John Doe number 2 that KFOR has. The witness also said she had been interviewed by the FBI the day of the bombing. But when asked if she saw a tattoo on the upper left arm, she told the FBI no. KFOR then showed some full body pictures the reporter had taken of John Doe number 2. In one of them, he is wearing a tank top. And when they zoomed into his upper left arm, you can clearly see the tattoo. That's from Craig in Lawton, Oklahoma. So there is everything as I had it up until a little before broadcast time. And I've got, a million other faxes about this. A lot of other networks are now aware of it. CNN was aware of the story, waiting for confirmation. AP Wire Service and others waiting for confirmation. ABC New York not aware but looking into it. Local NBC affiliate was interested in another town, but they also are investigating, and on and on and on. So we seem to be the driving force behind the story now, going beyond KFOR. Others, I understand, have touched on it as well, including Chuck Carter now, and Lopati and some others. So the story is now beginning to break out of the first stages. There you've got a kind of a chronology. And I thought, oh boy, this really sounds like a plan. I mean, what television station would not want their story told? It's an important story, very important. About a half hour before airtime, I got a call from somebody who will, for our purposes, we will call Mike. Not his real name, but we'll call him Mike. He is a private investigator. He says a contract employee of Channel 4 Television, KFOR. And he's here to talk to us about all of this morning. So let me take a brief break. And when we come back, the private investigator doing the work, but no doubt in part, or maybe even in a large part, along with Jana Davis, resulted in the story that now is beginning to catch fire. All right, now let me preface what you're about to hear only with one further item, and that is that Mike has contacted me. Now, I have no way of verifying that Mike is who he says he is. I will give you my personal assessment, having spoken to him, but I believe that he is. So why don't you decide for yourself? Here we go. Mike, are you able to hear me? Yes, good morning, Mike. All right, have I roughly, first of all, represented you properly as a contract employee of Channel 4 Television, KFOR, a private investigator?
I am a private investigator, correct. I am a subcontractor, not an employee.
A subcontractor, all right. That would essentially be a contract employee.
Correct.
All right, Mike, spill your guts. Well, look, first let me ask you straight out, is this an FBI planned story?
Absolutely not, Art. Let me just clear the air how it could not be. Jana Davis and myself have been starting this investigation back shortly thereafter the bomb. Basically, after we gathered information, our primary surveillance tape, which we took, we went to the FBI. The FBI debriefed us and questioned us for about 4.5 hours. We turned everything over at that time, videotapes, names, addresses, everything.
Can you tell us what, in essence, was on the tapes? Now, remember, the larger audience in the nation has not seen the KFOR report. So, what did you have that you turned over?
Well, let me give you a little bit of history. First of all, once the bombing here is our backyard. I live in Oklahoma City and do many other people. There were people, some credible, some not credible, that were going to various news stations. We were contacted by some witnesses that had been contacted already and questioned by the FBI. They gave the FBI their information, they went at that. Some of the witnesses we found to be very credible. We investigated some that were not credible. But the ones we found credible that we could at least second source everything, we continued to investigate. So this led us to a group of individuals. One individual in particular, it was got narrowed down to at least one individual, which we started doing surveillance. We started taking videotape. We started to see this gentleman's daily activities or lack of daily activity.
This was the person you were suspecting of being John Doe number 2?
Correct.
All right.
Correct.
All right. So you were actually, you were on the guy. You were taking videotapes. You were sitting somewhere and watching him, that sort of thing.
Yes, sir. We were taking surveillance tape of his daily activities, see what he did, who he associated with, things of that nature.
Okay.
Once we kind of stumbled onto him in a kind of ironic way. But anyway, once we took the videotapes of this gentleman, we were looking at him, and Jana Davis and myself were looking at the videotapes, and we kind of got a chill because of the look. Our possible John Doe number 2 has very striking features. And we thought, well, we have to go on with this. We're trying to help in any way we can, help solve this crime if we can. If not, we'd like to be told we're wasting our time and get on down the road, because we both have other things to do if that not be the case.
Mike, did these striking features resemble the FBI's composite?
Yes, sir, they did.
They did. Oh, okay.
Especially from the nose, eyes, brow area, and forehead of the hair. Face structure in general is matched.
Gotcha.
Okay. We turned them over to the FBI. My initial observation, the FBI came to us. We went to them, they came to us, interviewed them. When I initially put the first video of surveillance tape, we were interviewed by 2 agents, and both agents took double tape and asked me to pause and videotape. Mm-hmm. Okay, they questioned us in length and in depth for 4.5 hours. What we knew of them, why our witnesses, what have you. We turned everything over to them. We have since continued to do surveillance on number 2 as of today. Number 2 lookalike, I should say. Number 2 lookalike. As of today, we have continued to get surveillance tape. We have continued to turn everything over to the FBI. We're in continual contact with them. Of course, by nature of their job, they don't tell us anything. We don't expect them to be honest with you. We're here to help them if we can.
I'm sure that would be true, yes.
I'd like to correct a couple little things you mentioned in your visual summary here at the beginning.
Okay.
During that summary, you said surveillance taken by neighboring businesses out in Tampa, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that's what the fact says.
That's incorrect. None of the videotape that we have was taken from any other video camera other than our own, including the FBI. None of them was taken from FBI surveillance tape.
Okay, well that includes everything in your report with Jana, right?
Correct.
Gone on your table.
Correct.
All right.
Second thing I'd like to correct with you, you mentioned an individual young lady that went on camera. This is guys where she had been to Bay and our John Doe number looking like in a bar drinking beer. Correct. And we were misinformed when they told you that the Bay and this John Doe number 2 look like were speaking a foreign language together. That is not correct. Okay. The correct answer to that would be this John Doe number 2 lookalike asked the waitress a question of whether she was married. She couldn't understand what he said. She asked him to repeat it. He repeated it. He spoke with very broken English. At no time. Right. She was from Southern California. She knows Hispanic. The gentleman kind of looked Hispanic. It was not Hispanic. And during the interview, she stated it was the same she heard during the news report from the Gulf War.
Okay, so that's how they came up with the preliminary thought that this might be an Iraqi or an Iranian or Middle Eastern type.
No, sir, actually it's not. Within minutes after the bombing, one of my investigators taped all the police radio traffic on the scanner. Within minutes after the bombing, that was reported on Channel 4 also. They were looking for a brown Chevy pickup truck, tinted windows, bug shields,
Yes.
With at least 2 Middle Eastern looking males.
Yes, sir. I recall that report distinctly.
Okay, that was come directly from the FBI. We take that we have where police officers locally are asking, who, do we know if this is good information? And it's right there on the report from the law enforcement official saying it was authorized by the FBI. Within a few hours after that, the ATV out for the Middle Eastern connections kind of died off. Inside law enforcement sources say the FBI, told them specifically pull the ATV from the Middle Eastern man off, quit giving it away. Okay, quit asking for them.
All right, let me stop you there. I remember a report, maybe this is further down the line, that 2 Pakistanis, I believe it was Pakistanis, were detained and questioned by the FBI for a period of time and then let go. Now, do you recall that?
I recall,
I think it was down in Texas somewhere they got them or something.
the only one I do recall of Middle Eastern is here in Oklahoma City. Out in Oklahoma City, at a hotel, a gentleman from Texas was questioned, detained, and released by the FBI. Around here, it was kind of went crazy for a little bit because anybody that had dark skin and drove around could have been a little car was getting pulled over.
I hear you.
Public hysteria.
Right, I'm sure. Okay, how long, so this investigation by yourself and Jana, did it begin roughly a week after the bombing or just very shortly after the bombing? Is that when it all began, when you began work?
It began within, probably within 3 days after the bombing.
3 days.
I would say roughly within 3 days.
All right, so you worked on this story from that period until when it aired, what was it, Wednesday?
That was, we worked on it continually through today, but it did not first air Wednesday. It aired sometime back. It's been a continuing series and updates as far as the programs and the stories.
Well, there must have been something about the story on Wednesday that lit everybody's fire. Maybe it was a combination, or maybe it just built to some sort of a crescendo or something. But it was as though KFOR broke it just the other day.
Well, yes, and I'll tell you where that came from. Of course, I'm not employed by KO4. I'm not their employee. I'm speaking as a subcontractor as myself, okay, as the investigator. Right? The story Wednesday broke when we've accumulated all this information. We have had multiple eyewitnesses that, and my job as an investigator, I was trying to discredit them, okay? I was trying to make sure it was a non-prejudiced third-party objective to get down to the truth. To be honest with you, if this is real, myself, nor Jana Davis, nor any of the news channel would want anything to do with it. It's not a racial thing. It's a thing about the truth.
I'm with you. That's what I want is the truth.
Yeah, it's all for the truth, basically. So we had all this information. We had multiple eyewitnesses that have been through Linus, and you're talking, I did the Linus myself, you're talking pictures of 45, at least 45 to 50 pictures, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, of very thin pictures. These pictures, on their own, non-prejudiced, on camera, picked out our John Doe number 2 looks like on each occasion. And without that,
Out of how big a order?
I would say a variation of up to 20 different people.
All right, well, that's pretty impressive.
And you're talking, somebody had made a comment on another talk show that, some people think people of certain races all look the same. That is incorrect. We put faces. I even tried to trick some of them and say, you sure it's not this guy? You sure it's not this man? And they would always stick to their story. We got incredible. We second source thing. We basically, Jana did her package, took it where she needed it, took it.
All right, Mike, I want you to hold your story right there for us. We've got to take a break here at the bottom of the hour. You won't hear anything for a few minutes. Don't let it worry you. We're going to break here at the bottom of the hour. My guest is somebody who calls himself Frank, a private investigator who worked with and continues to work with Jana Davis, the reporter who wrote this incredible story from Oklahoma City. We'll be right back. Coast to Coast AM with our gal. Come on in, join the party. We're going to fall on I don't know. Well, then you can run it home here. I am the Antichrist. Marcel is taking calls on the wild card line at 702-727-1295. That's 702-727-1295. Website is on the charge number at 702-727-1222. 702-727-1222. Now, here again, Marcel. Good morning from the high desert. My guest calls himself Mark. For obvious reasons, we're not going to get his real name. I don't expect it. He is a private investigator who has been working with candidates. Is a subcontract employee of Channel 4 Television, KFOR, Oklahoma City. In other words, he's not really their employee, but is a private investigator who has been working on this case since within a few days of the explosion. We're getting the story now. Mike, are you there? Yes, I'm here. Good. All right. Now, back to it. Here you are. You've got all of this material, videotape, all the rest of it, witnesses who have identified John Doe number 2, and then what? What do you do?
Basically, Jana did her, we have no feedback here. Jana did her package together.
Right. I'll tell you what, if you can, get real good and close to the phone and speak up good and loud.
Okay, I'm right in it right now.
All right, that'll help a lot. Wonderful.
Basically, Jana and did her package, put everything together. We both together, her and I checked and double checked the source and resource. And we got heads together, basically trying to know what to do. People of power and her news channel decided, well, with his little hassle, let's go ahead and contact the FBI, which management at the news channel contacted the FBI, told them they were going to run the story, and wanted them, gave them time and let them know we're not out to hurt any investigation. It's just time for the truth to come out.
Did they say basically, look, we're running with a story, whether you guys think it's okay or not?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. What was said, I was privy and I was in with the conversation. It was put like this. It was put, we're going to run the story unless you all give us reasons why not to, or we don't want to impede your investigation. We want to help out on the situation. What do you want them to do? They said they would get back. Within probably 30 minutes of that conversation, they had no problem with us running the story. They did not tell us we were, ludicrous, crazy, wrong. They said we, basically gave us a blessing to run the story. The story we ran that night, that was Wednesday night. That's when everything started breaking on the story.
All right, before we move on, let me ask you this. Why are you talking to me tonight? In other words, how is it you are allowed, even better yet, let's go back a little further. Why is Jana Davis not allowed, either not allowed to, or is refusing to do any interviews with anybody?
I don't think it's a matter of refusing to or not being allowed to. I think it's a matter of we live here in town. We want this to go. We want it to go right. The reason I'm calling you is I wanted to clear some things up. I just heard some comments made on your show last night, I believe. I have a list of the people that I'm aware of. You know, I guess there were some questions on why isn't this going public? Why isn't it going national? It is going public. It is going national. I just, for instance, WNBC, the NBC.
Okay, but right, before we go on, again, you haven't really exactly answered my question. The question is kind of why is Jana not doing interviews? Now, is it just her personal choice? She just doesn't want to do interviews. In other words, it's her story and it's your story, I guess. And you would think that she would want to get it out and get it out accurately. And I'll accept that as your reason for being here. I'm just asking why isn't Jana?
I do not really know. Jana is still employed by the news channel. The story isn't completely over. We're kind of looking for a finished story. We'd like to resolve. The big question in our mind is, once this is resolved with a yes, it could be him, or yes, we've arrested him, or yes, we've cleared him, we've questioned him, then it's over. It can go either way. We're still kind of in the hanging stage as far as for personal reasons, or maybe it's the news channel reasons. I'm not in the decision-making part of it, be her personal or whatever.
All right, I'll accept that answer. All right, now, as for your part in this, Mike, I take it that the powers that be, whoever they be, authorized you to do what you're doing right now.
Yes, you could say that.
All right, all right. So the investigation's ongoing. This man is still in, to the best of your knowledge, and you should know, Oklahoma City.
As of 5:30 this evening, yes, sir.
Just hours ago.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. How many witnesses altogether, Mike, have identified this man the way you suggest he's been identified, in large lineups?
I'd say at least 3 that have been able to come on camera or willing to come on camera. So, as unidentified, of course. There have been others that have not wanted to come on camera at all. And we, of course, protect their identity. Something I can touch back on your other question is why I believe, too, it just popped in my head. I'm sorry to go out of order here.
No, it's quite all right.
I believe part of the reason is the news channel is getting swamped and inundated with phone calls about this.
I'll bet.
But if we, both Jana, myself, and the news channel, we have a commitment to the witnesses. Nobody wants to take the story without being able to confirm it themselves. And we will absolutely not, anyone I will not reveal Evil Jana to anybody other than the FBI. And I know there have been calls and questions on, well, we want to talk to this witness, this witness. We guarantee them their anonymity.
I understand. No, that I understand. And as I did with you with some information at the beginning of the program, I promised to keep it to myself, and I shall do so. I'm a man of my word, and I assume that Channel 4 is as well. So I can understand why they would protect these witnesses. Now, you might have had a chance to really talk to these witnesses, probably in a way almost nobody else except perhaps the FBI has, I guess.
That's correct.
How credible are they, Mike?
I tell you, in my personal opinion, they're very credible. In my professional opinion, they're excellent witnesses. For instance, the young lady that was on I'm sure you have a deal, but the young lady that came on tonight's show at 10 o'clock show after the NBA playoffs here, she came to the news channel, she saw it. If you saw the picture of the John number 2 look like, you would understand how she picked him out, even though his face was mosaic down.
Okay, so you're verifying the second fact that I've got here about the lady who came to KFOR. Another witness and also has now identified.
Yes, sir. And another witness who was also questioned by the FBI.
All right, then, several. It's hard to know which direction to go. First, why, I guess my first question is, the FBI seemed inclined to pick up anybody early on who, even as you pointed out, remotely drove this sort of vehicle or whatever. So why wouldn't they pick this guy up?
That's my question. So I imagine in the wisdom of the FBI that they're probably doing an in-depth investigation, which they feel is, safe to maybe find out who the bushes might be or what have you. I think there's underlying factors here that you're still not made aware of, that the public's still not made aware of, and won't be, that I are aware of. So there's trust my judgment, and there is reason.
All right, then let me ask something, and you can react to it how you wish. In the beginning, in the first hours after the bombing, clearly the reports were that this was a foreign connection in all likelihood. They'd seen some foreigners, and everybody, of course, immediately suspected Iraq or Iran or some country like that behind it. And that's what the large news organizations went with. Then all of a sudden, the story took a different direction suddenly, and we all had, because I did some of that reporting, egg on our face, and it was as though, oh boy, we should be apologizing for even automatically suspecting foreign involvement like this. A lot of egg on a lot of faces, and the story took a whole new turn. Now, what you're reporting seems to point right back again to the possibility, at least, of foreign involvement. Could that account for the hesitation and so forth the FBI seems to be displaying now?
In my opinion, I'd say, my opinion is without a doubt. I mean, the gentleman that was arrested in London, he go home to be native, and he was apologized. The president apologized to him. So he has to release his death. So I would say they would, in my opinion, they're going forward cautiously. I don't blame them for that.
Well, yeah, I understand political pressure. Now, what do you think, and this is just a guess, I'm sure on your part, Mike, or maybe KFOR is a reputable, mainstream, Channel 4 NBC news affiliate there in the city where bombing took place. This is a big story, Mike, there's no question about it. And Channel 4 read it, and then nobody else picked it up, with the exception of this program early on, with questions, and to this moment, with some few exceptions, on the fringe, it still hasn't been picked up by the networks. Earlier in the day, when I spoke with the general manager of Channel 4, I said, I would presume you fed the network on this, didn't you? And he said, well, look, I just got back from the trip or something. So yes, I would certainly presume we did. Do you know whether they did feed the net? And can you answer why it hasn't been picked up?
I can't answer why. I can list you at least 9 different agencies that have this. I can list 9 that I'm aware of that I can tell you. Okay, New York Times, AP Wire, UPI Radio Network, Dallas Morning News. Just tonight, WNBC, the NBC affiliate New York City ran story. Arizona Republican today.
Finally.
KFYI Radio, CNN, and of course NBC News. And there's also calls by, and I won't name them, several high-ranking senators on the Hill have called.
All right, so finally it is beginning to break.
Yes, sir.
It sure did break slowly, Mike. Very, very interesting. And I wonder if some of the same forces are at work here in the media as are at work, or I suspect were at work in the FBI's hesitation to arrest this man. That is, the media's reluctance to, in effect, say, oops.
I follow you. All I can say from my experience in this is it takes a lot of nerve. It takes both from an individual all the way up to news channels, news stations. KFOR TV and Oklahoma City, the NBC affiliate just swept #1 across the board in Oklahoma. The Oklahoma City market. So they're #1 without a question and with definite, definition, and they're #1 standing. So it took a lot of nerve, and the detail that had to go into this, the second sourcing, it's remarkable. And the majority of the witnesses we have, both on camera and the ones that just are too scared to go even with their voices, they say, this guy has a number of them have been interviewed by the FBI, but you have to remember most of the interviews came within hours or within a day or so of the bombing. The first videotape I took of this John Doe number 2 lookalike wasn't until April 24th, which is 5 days after the bombing. But at that time, they wouldn't have the skills and the videos we provided to produce any photo line.
Does your John Doe number 2 suspect know that he's under surveillance?
I have no idea. I assume not.
Does he act as though he knows?
From the onset, he's a very suspicious individual. He appears to be soldier-like. He's very wary, very cautious where he goes. I assume he doesn't know he is under surveillance. He is very careful with that.
Well, there must be dual surveillance going on because you are surveilling as you say the FBI is.
I assume they are, yeah.
Well, now, wait a minute. You assume they are. Do you know for sure whether the FBI has this man under surveillance now?
If I knew, I wouldn't tell you. No, I could. I tell you, but I can tell you that everything we give, every videotape we get, is requested from us by the FBI, and we voluntarily turn it into the FBI. I can assure you that we have not been told where it's wrong. All the FBI can confirm or deny that it's an active investigation. We question no one on that.
Hello, Mike.
Right.
All right, apparently Mike is speaking to somebody else on the phone right now about exactly this.
I'm here. Go ahead.
Okay, Mike. Are you there?
I'm here. Go ahead.
All right. I take it you're getting communication from elsewhere.
I am, sir. It's the story of my life, isn't it?
Yeah, I bet. What do they want us to know?
Basically, where we're going. Just something that needs to be. I need to let you know. And as far as validity, as far as credibility, each photo lineup that we did with these individuals, each photo lineup was taped from the beginning, the moment we started talking to them, through the whole setup.
So you've got videotape even of these witnesses doing the
Yes, sir. And we did not talk to these witnesses off camera to ensure credibility, to ensure the stability of the photo lineup. Okay, so we taped it from the beginning to the left. Once they identified it, we even taped throwing the pictures, putting the pictures away, completely from beginning to out the door. The camera was running full time, and that is being turned over to the FBI too. So there is no question of a tainted witness, the possibility of a tainted witness. And most of ours that I probably didn't tell you, I know I told you we double sourced it, our Jada and I triple sourced it, sometimes 4 and 5 times we would source something to make sure we're on track.
Can you characterize for me, now obviously, here you are delivering some very heavy information to the FBI. Even though they're pretty stoic guys, I know quite a few agents myself, and they're pretty stoic. You must have been able to discern some sort of reaction from them, from surprise to great interest to no interest to we'll take this information only if we have to. Characterize for me, if you would, the way they communicated with you.
Basically, any contact you might have with the FBI, when I call, they're there. I have no problem getting them on the phone. When I leave a message, Virginia leaves a message, they're back with us within 15, 20 minutes, probably max. They're kind to us. They're nice. Anything we have, we give to them. They ask if we have anything. We'll tell them we're going to get this. If, for instance, we were asked if we could place our John Doe number 2 lookalike with McVeigh. That's to get beyond towards the beginning stages of the investigation.
Right.
We said, well, we'll let you know as we go. Well, we called them up and said, we now have witnesses that can place John Doe number 2 lookalike with McVeigh. They were very interested. We turned it over to them. Now, as of today, we have a witness.
Do these involve the people in the restaurant?
There were others.
In other words, it placed them together, or were there other locations?
Other than the restaurant, there's beer drinking establishments, there's other businesses that they were seeing. Some are on camera, some are off camera for their beer.
I got you.
Okay. Basically, we contacted them and said, not only can we place them with their name, now we have placed them with inside driving a brown Chevy pickup by a credible witness that was within, as she put it, I believe 4 to 6 feet, her face to his face, as he turned the corner driving that car. So John was always look like it. And remember the features of it. And if you saw the man, if you saw the stills, if you saw the videos, the features you would not forget. He is a very angry looking man, and that is how she remembers him.
Well, she was almost hit by it, wasn't she?
Yes, she was.
No, so could those reactions on his face have been fright at almost hitting her?
Absolutely not. Let me tell you what, Art. At the time of the bombing, my own attorney, my friends, people have business downtown. At the time of the bombing, time stopped downtown. People stopped their cars in the middle of the road. There was no movement. Everybody kind of froze, and they were kind of panicked to get out of the building. According to her, this eyewitness, credible, very credible eyewitness, the one that spotted him in the car. He was the only vehicle that stuck out in her mind that everybody has a bewildered, scared look coming out, and all vehicles stop traffic. Okay. He was the only vehicle, this vehicle that he was observed driving, or she spotted him driving, she identified him driving, was the only vehicle on the road moving and was going at a high rate of speed, was not looking at Wonderman, but was looking at her and made eye contact and kept eye contact as he came around the corner. And was going at a high rate of speed. And according to her testimony, which was the whole interview, everything was taped from start to finish, so there's no question on what was spoken between whatever, what hit her is, why are you so angry? And where are you going so fast? And there's a problem, and there's an obvious problem. And that's what her own words, her own, information she volunteered to
Wow. All right. Well, here's where we're going to have to leave it for the top of the hour, Mike. Relax. You've got probably about 7 or 8 minutes. And if you want to do any communicating in that time with Jana, I know you did tell us Jana is listening to this right now, isn't she?
I assume she is. I can't speak for Jana, but I assume she is.
All right. Well, if you have any communicating to do, you've got about 8 minutes to do it, and we'll be directly back to you. All right, Mike?
Wonderful. See you.
All right. A private investigator, contract employee of KFOR TV Channel 4, Oklahoma City. We'll be right back.
Call Art toll free. What's the Rockies at 1-800-618-8255. 1-800-618-8255. East of the Rockies at 1-800-825-5033. 1-800-825-5033. This is the CBC Radio Network.
It absolutely is. And I've got a special guest. His name, for the record, is Mike. That's not his real name. He's a private investigator, a subcontractor, employee of Channel 4 Television, KFOR, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And he's here telling us about the story that he's been working on, he says, with Jana, who is the reporter who broke all this in Oklahoma City. It's a big story. And in a lot of ways, we're just getting started.
Coast to coast and short South Dakota. But folks, you don't have to be about travel to enjoy this amazing show. The Coast Insider is your key to a normal life. 14 cents a day. You're lovely fresh. Knowing that last night's show is waiting for you in the podcast. The Coast Insider Club is a must-have feature for all Coast to Coast AM listeners. Visit coasttocoastam.com to sign up today. The new version of the Coast to Coast AM app is here, now available for Android as well as iPhone. For Coast Insiders, it offers the ability to download the most recent shows so you can listen to them at your leisure. The new app also has listen live and streaming features, plus recaps, content, and upcoming show info. Coast Insiders with Android system 4.0 and above, or iPhone. Check out our new app at the Google Play or iTunes stores, or link from the Coast website. Looking for the truth? You'll find it on Coast to Coast Media.
You're listening to Art Bell, Somewhere in Time. This is Coast to Coast AM. My guest is Mike, a private investigator, a subcontract employee for Channel 4 television, KFOR, the station that has broken the story about John Doe number 2. Last hour, we got a graphic description of how he's collected the evidence, the steps that Mike has gone through. And so here he is once again. Mike, are you there?
Yes, I am.
So here you are, this large collection of videotapes, of IDs, of witnesses. In other words, you guys think you've got John Doe number 2.
Well, we have an individual that definitely looks a lot like John Doe number 2. There's no doubt about that.
How much can you tell us about this individual? And are you not afraid you'll spook him? Or do you want to?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I just want to, any questions you have, I'd like to answer you. You might just throw them at me, and I don't know, what I can answer until then. We have quite a bit of information. We know who he is. We know where he works. Like I said, we don't know if this is John Doe number 2, where that's where we like to get to the bottom and have some questions, find out if he isn't. Fine. If he is, why isn't he? That's your question, and that's where we're at right now with the investigation.
So in other words, you guys are sitting there saying, look, we fed all this stuff to the FBI.
Correct.
And they haven't, as far as you can tell, made any moves to collect this guy up and question him themselves.
I don't know if they have or not. I assume I assume that they're taking the information we give them and doing their own investigation and doing what they feel is right and what, under the law they have to do.
All right, try this one out for size, Mike. In the beginning, they had the composite drawing of John Doe number 2. They said there is a second person involved. Here is the composite photograph. Then, slowly as time went on, that began to fade and fade, and pretty soon we were hearing stories saying, well, authorities now think there may be no such thing as John Doe number 2 at all. There may be no John Doe number 2, that this was, a one-man job. And I'm still hearing that, really. I've heard no renewal of interest other than there through you in Oklahoma City regarding the fact that John Doe number 2 may even exist.
That's correct. I'm not sure if he has that. All we have to go by is the ABDs they put out, the information they put out. There was the initial composite drawing of the John Doe number 2, then it was the secondary composite drawing of John Doe number 2 that looks changed a little bit. Then we came up, when the FBI came up with the composite drawing of the profile, which to me makes a lot of sense because we have been able to confirm that there is actual surveillance tape from the building. That's around the building. That is confirmed and that has been reported.
Have you seen it?
No, sir, I haven't seen it. And if I did, I can tell you actually.
Are there, without telling me what they are, it's the only way I know to ask this question, Mike, are there a lot of things that you know about this story that you can't tell me right now?
Yes, it's fair to say that.
You're going public then, you would state your reason for going public on this, or coming on the program with me, is because you are dumbfounded at the fact the FBI has not yet made any moves, or you want to force the issue, or?
No, not at all. The reason I went public with you is this simple fact. We heard comments made on the show, and with people not knowing or not in the know and making assumptions, if the story is going to be told to whatever extent it can be told, and we let the facts come out, firsthand, so there is no question. I'm very careful I don't say anything I shouldn't say. And to let you know, look, if people want to talk about it, it's America. These are Americans that I children, their kids, their brothers, fathers, that's right. And the bottom line is the truth has to come out, period. And to be completely honest with you, if I'm on the right track and I'm on the wrong track, I put a lot of time, effort, sweat, fear, and if this is true, if this gentleman we do have on surveillance tape ends up by some chance being John Doe number 2, the fear factor is increased 1,000-fold because we've been dealing with somebody at that point, who could have done such a terrible atrocity to America, to America itself.
Are you, or has Gina expressed fear for your own lives?
You can't help but, if I told you no, I would be arrogant, I'd be lying to you for the simple fact that, of course, we're fearful. This is the worst terrorist attack on American soil in history. And to think that a reporter and a PI, if it turns out our situation or our investigation be the investigation that breaks this thing, and our guy ends up being arrested for it, the FBI might have eventually got it, but they wouldn't have got it without us at this point, I don't feel. So we would be the, kind of the catalyst causing the investigation.
So as far as you know, the FBI wasn't onto this guy until you put onto this guy, is that right?
That is correct. As far as I know, that's how we were led to believe.
And again, when you went to the FBI and you said, all right, we've got all this stuff, we've got the story, and you were feeding them information and had been, but you come to them at some point and say, we want to run the story, or we're going to run the story, you got a problem with it, they call you back 20 minutes later and say, no, go ahead and run it.
Correct. And they were also asked at that time if, look, are we on the wrong track because we don't want to wrongly accuse or initiate a federal investigation on an individual if we're on the wrong track.
So in other words, if we're on the wrong track, tell us that.
Right. We'd like to back off, and I do surveillance for a living. I'd rather get back and watch workers' comp surveillance or something. I mean, it's much safer, one, normal as far as normal everyday activities. This is out of the norm. It's out of the norm for Gina, everybody at Channel 4. And myself, we were kind of thrust in the middle of this and being, red-blooded Americans, we're not going to give up until we're told to back off, until we're told we're wrong, we're told to go in a direction, period. And we are going to get with all of them.
So then the FBI came back to you and in essence said, we're not going to tell you you're on the wrong track, we're not going to tell you you're on the right track, we're just going to not comment, or how did they come back?
Basically, their general term that they use, and I can't blame them for it at all, is they will neither confirm or deny. They will neither confirm or neither deny there is or there isn't. They will neither confirm that they're using the tape we're giving them. We can only assume.
Okay, did they express any hesitation that you're going with the story, or Channel 4 is going with the story, might spook the guy?
Not by the words, absolutely not. They were, I'm sure, careful with the words they chose, but they had no objection with the story for us to do what we feel we had to do, or for the news channel to do what they feel they had to do. They had no objection.
And without asking you a lot about the person's identity, what would be your impression that if the person you suspect may be John Doe number 2 is John Doe number 2, that there might be an international connection to the bombing?
Yes, sir.
That was a yes.
That was a yes. My personal professional knowledge is that if this individual we're videotaping is involved, my opinion would be a yes.
Well, that would utterly and completely change the nature of the story. And also, I might add, Mike, if that would be true, it would increase the danger, or certainly would have, for Gina and for yourself, at least up until this moment. Now, going public in the way you're going public, actually, may lessen the danger. I'm sure that's occurred to you, both of you.
Yes, sir. Yes, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And that's neither here nor there as far as our motive or motive is sincere in that we want to do what we want to do. I personally know people, relatives of friends of mine, who have been pulled over in more than one state after within 30 days because they left like John number 2 and questioned in detail in multiple states. Yet, there must be some method to the madness as far as the investigation. And I'm not an FBI agent, nor could I be. The fact is, by them not questioning him up to this point, clearly to me, we must be on the right track to a point. To a certain truth in what we're saying.
All right, look, I'm going to keep pushing, and when I push too far, you just let me know, and I'll back away. You said if this John Doe number 2 is John Doe number 2, then it would be an international connection.
Yes, sir.
To what nation?
I'd rather not say.
Okay, that's that's where the line came. That's fine. What I would now like to do, Mike, is to let my audience get involved and ask you questions. And again, you can handle their questions the way you've handled mine. When you get one you can't handle, just say, I'm sorry, I can't answer that, or whatever, and we will understand. I mean, you're in a very tough position. I sympathize with where you are in this investigation at this point, and I really want to thank you for coming on, because this story has been driving me up a tree for days. Well, and more days, I suspect, for you, my friend. All right, Mike, let's try a few phone calls, see what happens. West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Mike.
Yeah, Art. Hello. John Doe number 3, I believe, Mike. Good morning. Good morning. My real name is Bill. Portland, Oregon. Portland, all right. Okay, yeah. Hey, this guy mentioned earlier a lot of nerve. Mike, I think you're falsely building the hopes of the families out there in Oklahoma City. I hope you got good grounds to stand on this.
Well, sir, if you were listening to the last hour, were you?
I've been listening to the last 20 minutes.
The last 20 minutes. That's not enough. During the last hour, he described in some great detail the specific grounds he's built this on. They've got a lot of witnesses, or several witnesses, who have made detailed, big lineup IDs of this individual. So this is not a story wavering on matchsticks.
And if I can interject something here too, Bill. I'll let you know, the news channel, has had a lot of sports runs, a lot of families up with them. And they want to know the truth. Here in Oklahoma, everybody wants to know the truth. There are things that, I can't say on the show, but some of these families, some of the victims are involved in certain aspects of this investigation that we're conducting. So there's no doubt, these people suffered a great loss to families, and we really feel for them. That's why we're so careful to, second sourcing it isn't good enough. We source things 3 times, 4 times, as many times as we can source it.
And Bill, I agree with you that you've got to be careful about the victims' families, but I'll bet one thing, Bill, I bet they want to know the truth, don't you think?
Well, we as Americans want to know the truth to the bottom line of it. That was a sad situation, and a lot of involvement in it was pointing fingers in all different directions. Americans were the last to believe that we're the ones to be doing it. And now we're back to stage 1 when it originally recapped foreign involvement.
I agree, and we think, and I think anyway, and Mike seems to agree, that could be the reason why A, the FBI is very cautious about making any move, and B, why other media outlets have been so cautious about picking up on the story.
Exactly, and that's why I'm hoping this guy's got all his ducks in a row and all his eyes dotted and his teeth crossed before his accusations. They got this guy.
Well, he's actually not making an accusation, Bill. Thank you. You are turning this information. I have turned it over to the FBI. If there's any questioning to be done or arresting to be done, it will be the FBI that will do it, right?
That is correct. Everything that I have not told I have not told you, Art, in any of this conversation, nothing that has not been made public record via channel or news channel. And before it gets to the public record, it is given to the FBI. and it doesn't go on the air without them being let know that they plan to take it on the air, and blessings or requests not to put it on the air, and to go from there. So,
all right, but I'm going to ask you another one that's in questionable territory. Is there anything yet that Channel 4 has wanted to put on the air that the FBI asked them not to?
I really can't answer that, Art.
Because you don't have the knowledge, or because you shouldn't?
Because I'd rather not be.
Yeah, all right. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Mike. Good morning.
Oh, Art, it's Greg from
Los Oklahoma. Yes, Greg.
Mike, are you aware of any of the acquisitions coming out of KPLC or Oklahoma City that the ATF may have had McVeigh under surveillance before the bombing? Have you heard anything about that? Frank, I'd rather not even comment on that. It's a completely different area here, and I'd rather not say whether if I even know anything about that. Okay, well, good luck up there. Keep it up.
All right, thank you very much. And we may have time for one more before the bottom of the hour. On the wild card line, you're on the air with Mike.
Hi. My question is, does he know if there is a big American connection? In other words, was it an American and a foreign agent?
All right, yeah, that's good. Well, I guess the question's answered in a way. We already, or the FBI, I'm sure, already thinks they know about the American connection portion of it. What you're contending is that this individual, if he is John Doe number 2, would mean an international connection. So would that mean, Mike, would you be willing to extend that and say that means it's some kind of joint operation?
Well, where we're at right now is as far as our investigation, what the FBI has, I don't know. But we're at, we're getting to the point that we have enough eyewitnesses and people that we've been able to source a few times over to really nail him as far as eyewitnesses. We have eyewitnesses that without a doubt that we're 100% back, or they back, and I back.
So you think you've got the right guy. The question is, would that represent a sort of a deal between the devils? Is that what you're suspecting?
We're not even at that point in the investigation. It's a simple matter that.
All right, Mike, hold that thought. We'll get right back to the at the bottom of the hour. Mike, you're listening to the CBC radio network. You've got your radio off. Turn your radio off. Yes, it is. Extinguish your radio. Just turn your radio off. What's your best guess? I'll pass it on. Turn off the radio. Listen on each, you're on the air. Now, regarding who you're calling, you would know more about that than I would. I'm trying to reach out now. Who do you think you reached? No, I have no idea. Well, you want what kind of pizza? I don't want any of that. Okay, you did order one anchovies, right? No anchovies. I can't stand anchovies. Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell. Be sure to turn your radio off. Know who you're calling and know who you are. You sure you can't let this order? Oh, I'm fine.
You're listening to Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell, live on the CBC Radio Network. Art shares great things across the nation. Call 1-638-8555. The wire call direct phone call 3472 727-895. And the number 703-727-9295. Your Irish show on the first part caller line, and we have 712 727-1222. You go to the economic studies to first part caller line.
Mark is taking calls on the wild card line at 702-727-1295. That's 702-727-1295. Starting hours can be charged at 702-727-1222. 702-727-1222. Now, here again, Art Better.
Good morning. My guest is a man named Mike, not his real name. He's a private investigator, subcontractor of Channel 4 Television, KFOR, working with Gina Davis on this story. Since the bombing, they think they've got John Doe number 2 nailed. All right, back now to Mike. Mike, there are several faxes that have come in. Here's one, for example, from Rick. I'd like to know if Mike has any idea whether John Doe number 2 may be operating on his own or behalf of another government.
I couldn't answer that. I really couldn't. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the answer.
All right.
I don't have the feedback here.
He's getting feedback again. All right, what will help is if you get real close to that phone and speak up real loud.
Okay, how's that?
Much better.
All right.
All right. Did Mike keep copies of the data that he gave to the FBI?
Absolutely.
So in other words, you can back up what you claim you've given the FBI with videotape.
Absolutely. Everything that I told you that I have on videotape, or that Gina Davis gave to, or she has on videotape, we have definitely backed that up.
All right.
A few times over.
All right, from Rebecca in Houston. All right, the lack of interest on a national basis still makes me incredibly angry. As of last night, I heard the same Texas State Network talk show host refer to you, me I guess, as someone who fell hook, line, and sinker for a hoax. The nonchalance of the FBI is incredible. They certainly arrested McVeigh, detained the Michigan guys with less information than it seems that they have on the Iraqi national. What about those fellows who like to drink that the FBI tracked all over the U.S. and detained? It boggles the mind to think they did not detain this fellow. This story still stinks. Rebecca, is there something about this story to you, Mike, that it stinks?
Oh, Rebecca, I tell you, I can't say anything stinks about it. This is my backyard here, and for the simple reason is I have faith in our government. I have faith in our federal law enforcement, and I do have faith, and I know they're going to do the right thing. I know the American people are going to find out who did it. It might be a while. I hope it's not, because if it's a while, Gina Davis and I are going to continue our investigation. So it's either released, cleared and released by the FBI, or arrested, or whatever. We're going to follow this to the end. So we want closure. We really want closure. We're doing it for the closure.
Mike, I know you can't speak officially for them, but would you say to this point, Channel 4 in Oklahoma City is standing by the details of their story as they have presented your investigation? They're standing by it.
Absolutely, 100%.
All right, let's take some more calls. West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Mike. Good morning.
Hi, this is Dave in Monterey.
Yes, Dave.
I just don't know where to begin. I think it's dangerously close to yelling fire in a crowded movie theater. Notoriously bad are these eyewitness accounts, and that's all that you're substantiating and basing this story on. How can you sit there and say that this John Doe number 2 was in fact Iraqi or whatever the news story was?
He hasn't said that. They're saying they've identified John Doe number 2 based on several independent witnesses picking him out of a substantial lineup.
But he's backing up State Corps' statement that it was a Iraqi colonel in the army.
Well, now
I can address that point about there being a colonel.
all right, good. Let's do that.
Okay, as far as the statement of being a colonel, that was not made. And so we have to confirm here through our various information, and it has been sourced at more than one individual. We sourced this from people in the knowledge. This was not sourced through eyewitnesses. This was sourced from people that would be in the know. This gentleman was in the Iraqi army in Desert Storm for a fact. That has been sourced that was one of the things he sourced so
So it's all right. So you stand by that. This man was in the Iraqi army, and I had it that he fought in the war under Saddam Hussein against the United States.
Absolutely. We have not confirmed the rank. We do not know. We don't know exactly what his military official specialty was. We do not know. We just have confirmed, from people that would be in the know, not somebody that overheard, but we've gone to sources and confirmed that he was definitely in the Iraqi army military. And his fighting is strong. And he was one of, as a matter of fact, he was one of the ones that was captured.
Well, Mike, there have been a lot of people who have been after me with the same kind of rhetoric that this man just came after you with. That were, Fire Theater, this is a big hoax. You heard Rebecca's facts, and I've been holding on to this story like red meat and pursuing it. And again, I want to thank you for coming on the air and verifying so many aspects of it. Let me try this question. Mike, what is your opinion of the bomb or bombs theories? In other words, two blasts, 10 seconds apart, bomb from Roswell, New Mexico. Have you touched on that aspect of it at all?
To be honest with you, Art, I haven't even wanted to go that aspect. For the simple reason that we're not doing the investigation to find out, the details of it. We're just wanting to, there is a missing, at least, it was reported, the FBI reported, their latest report was they're looking for 3 to 5 individuals. They last reported here in Oklahoma State. And, one of them is John Doe number 2, which, that's the only track we're going on. We're not going anywhere else.
All right, so the audience then would be well advised to confine their questions to your investigation of who you believe to be John Doe number 2, which is a totally non-trivial matter considering what we think we know about him. Wildcard line 2, you're on the air with Mike. Hi.
Good morning, Mike and Art. I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I threw away my sketches of John Doe number 2 about 3 weeks ago when I heard that they had found and questioned the suspected John Doe number 2 and found that he was just happened to be renting some other equipment or doing some other business at the rental place at the same time that McVeigh was renting the truck.
All right. What about that, Mike? Do you know anything about that?
As far as, are you trying to touch base there on a certain individual you can name, or you might have lost it? There's been so many sightings across the United States.
In other words, Mike, if you have 2 phones up, it would help a lot to hang one up.
Excellent. I'm getting to that right now.
Okay, thank you. What it does is it cuts down the volume that we managed to get on the air, and it's a little marginal anyway, so that'll help a lot if you have that up. In other words, if, to your knowledge, has the FBI taken the photograph of the person you believe is John Doe number 2 into the rental agency?
To my knowledge, I do not know. I know that they have taken photographs and done photo lineups. Whether there be ones that we have, provided them or ones from surveillance tapes, I do not know, but I know they have done photo lineups.
All right. Wildcard line, you're on the air with Mike. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Hi, how you doing, Joe? I was wondering, I don't know if you're but the information like that, are you in with this day a few days, what's the 3 days before the bomb?
All right, I'll tell you what we're going to do, Connor. We'll go through all that again. If I can hold you, Mike, past the top of this next hour, a lot more stations join the network, and there are a lot of people who have joined me in the middle of this, and they're going, what the hell are they talking about? This sounds important. And so we may have to retrench a little bit at the beginning of the next hour. Can you handle that?
Yeah, no problem.
Good. All right. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Mike. Hi.
Good morning. I was representing North Colorado.
Yes, sir.
Mike has already stated a couple nights ago, the national media could cover itself on this by simply reporting it as KFOR as reported, so on and so forth. But if they're reluctant to touch this at all, is what really smells to me. And I don't share your faith in our government. I think there's something a lot more to this thing.
All right, well, let me rephrase what he said, Mike. In the beginning, right after the last, oh my God, there were reports everywhere. CNN would say such and such a television station is reporting the following. And even I can understand, for example, NBC, CBS, NBC, CNN, they might all not, be able to get the people out in the fields to do and cover the investigative work that you've done and verify it all and get it on the air themselves. But that certainly has never stopped anybody from reporting what another major network affiliate radio or television station has just reported. And it is odd to me and everybody else that this has been so quiet.
I just, like we were talking earlier, Art, the ones that I'm aware of, there's at least 9 there that have showed interest in by being in the news station on a daily basis. There's calls coming in continually all day long. Whether these people are wanting to source information and wanting to divulge, who they are and want to do their own investigation, the sources won't be revealed.
Okay, well,
that's what I think the problem is.
I see. All right, let's say I'm Bernard Shaw from CNN, and I come to you and I say, look, Mike, we're a big network. We want to run with your story. We need to know what you know. We need to know about your sources. We will keep them as close to the chest as you have. I don't know what kind of promises you've made to your sources. Maybe you can tell us that, and maybe that's why you can't do it. But if I'm Bernie Shaw, what do you tell me?
It's simple. We've, not only myself, but J.J. herself has guaranteed these people absolute no releasing of any of their information to anybody other than the FBI, period. And it's unconditional. We cannot waver from that. Our words, our integrity, our words are all we have.
And I commend you for standing on that. And then I all of a sudden think I do understand the hesitation of some of the major networks to go because you really can't give them what you've got, can you?
Yes, sir. They have to be going on our word, and there's been so much disinformation and misinformation out there from, everything out there already that, has been reported, this, that, the other, and, the really problem with that was all over the press. There's just so much misinformation out there. I believe there's kind of I don't like for that.
All right. Let's see. East of the Buccaneers, you're on here.